Hey everyone, it's Path. Today we're going to talk about the different content creators out there in the content space and how they are actually playing very different games, and how you should be careful who you are watching or taking. If you are taking any advice or taking cues from them, you should be very careful, and I'm going to explain where this came from. I recently just finished reading this book. I think some of you probably have read the same book as well. This is one of the more popular one when it comes to, the psychology of money and investment in general. And of course, this book is mostly focusing on investment in terms of the stock market, and it may not apply to what we are dealing here, which is on Pokémon TCG, but I think there are some things that are transferable, and that's what I'm attempting to do. And recently, I think because of how the market is going, I think it's very critical that I start with this topic that we are talking about. These people on the screen here, you see Rudy, Team Rocket, Joey, I have Earn here, and Danny Phantom. Of course, these are not all. Later on, I'm going to drop many of them, their thumbnail in this video as well. So, any advertisement is a good advertisement for them, I guess. I'm, of course, not going to name and shame people because, they are playing their own games. And I am a content creator myself, a very small one, but I'm not going to say who is better, who is worse. And throughout the video, you will also understand why I don't think some of these are good, some of things are bad, because they are playing their own games and I'm not there to judge them. But as a viewer, I think it's very important to caution you why you should be a little bit more careful. So let's start. Why it matters that these people are playing different games is because the time horizon of them in this game may be a little bit different from what you have in your mind. So for example, let's say if you are thinking about flipping, then your time horizon could be days or maybe weeks maximum. And if you are thinking about doing this as an investment, like long term, it could be years, it could be even decades, right? More than 10-20 years. And the cash flow motives, so you have to be careful because some of these people making videos, they're only here for the views, they only need the ad revenue. So they don't really care, whether you agree or don't agree with them. As long as they get the view, they're happy. They're happy to make the $100 from this video, $50 from this video. So they're gonna make many video. And some of them sell very quickly. They flip, so they could be vendors in card shows, buying things and immediately just reselling them on eBay or TCG Player, but there are obviously some who are holding long terms and they are really looking into values, and some are not even thinking about selling at all because it's something for their personal collection. So you have to be very clear when you're watching a video. What is their motive and what are they getting out of this, and how are they actually getting money out of these things, and whether it aligns with what you believe, what is your own game. Because before we even go talk about what are the games they are playing, you have to know what is the game that you want to play and what is the game that you can afford to play. Because if you can afford to hold, that should mean that you have spare cash. You are not worried about this thing sitting in your closet for a long time. But if not, then are you thinking about flipping? Do you have the time to flip? Do you have the time to watch the market very quickly? These things go up and down very quickly within a few days, within hours sometimes. Are you quick enough? Are you always there online to get ready to buy them, to flip them, to get a profit? So you have to define your own game. What are the things that matters to this content creator? Like some of them always talk about price, some of them are always talking about grades, some of them are always talking about, oh, this card is beautiful and things like that. And some of them don't stick to any of them at all. They just talk about whatever is under the sky, whatever comes to their mind. So how does this matter to them, and how does that align to what you would like to play and what is important to you? And I think these are the things that you have to be very clear before you even decide who are the people you would like to support. Let's jump into this. I do not want to make this like a half an hour long video, so I'm trying to go a little bit quick. The first one is short-term flippers, speculators. So their time horizon is typically in days, even 1 or 2 days or even in a couple of months. What do they actually try to do is they will actually try to do a very quick profit from the hype, get some drops from here and there and try to resell them to make a quick buck. And sometimes they can, you know, make many quick bucks. Like for example, this video on the top was talking about, you know, flipping PSA return. So grading and flipping basically. And how can you tell? It's basically, you know, the hot takes video and to show you also big numbers on the screen and very focused on the price. Getting drops from Pokemon Center, Walmart or whatever it is. And how can this be misleading? Because this actually helped to normalize a lot of gambling behavior because like for example, PSA return, there's no guarantee that you're going to get a 10 or a 9 or even an 8. So if you are following things like this and you are not having the same mindset, you may get misled. And also things like this, stock on Pokemon Center, Walmart, Costco and things like that also cause FOMO that shortens other people's time horizon. If this is not your game, you don't want to do that, you don't want to stay online waiting for 2 hours to, you know, get something, just one box from Pokemon Center or things like that, then maybe you should avoid watching things like this. Next one is long-term holders, buy and hold investors. So the time horizons are typically in years, at least 1 year, 2 years, and maybe longer. Decades, I'm not so sure whether people will actually hold more than 20 years. 10 years, I think, is probably a long-term investment. There are obviously minority of the people who actually go longer than that, but I would doubt that will be a norm. Their goal is actually to look for appreciation over the cycles, many cycles. Typically, they are not too worried about whether the things go up and down within the short term, and they are more looking into the long far horizon. And usually they will also show like price chart over different cycles and how things go. And I put my own video as an example because I am I think a prime example of this. I always talk about holding things long term, and the fact that I haven't really sold much of my boxes, even though the price is really good. Some of my boxes have gone like 2-3 times above the price that I paid. Shows you that I'm quite serious about this. But how can they mislead? Because sometimes they dismiss, like myself, I dismiss near-term risk or over-justify holding everything. Sometimes we think everything is an investment. So for example, I could have sold like half of my things that I'm holding right now, and I could recoup all the money that I put into the investment, air quote over here, investment, and I would have been holding to close to half of the things that I still have at zero cost. But right now I'm refusing to do it. Trust me, this is a struggle in my mind. I kept thinking, should I do it? At the same time, I was thinking, because if I trust, you know, these things will go up over time, and that will be the price that I will have to pay. The uncertainty, the doubt in myself, the possibly, you know, regret in the future. And the other example that actually also got me into this hobby, one of them is actually Pokeos Michael in Australia. I think he have a very similar mindset, really long term. In fact, I have not actually heard him talking about selling at all. So he's probably even, you know, more hardcore than me in this way. Alright, the next one is collectors. So these are the emotional people. They want to collect everything, very hard to let go of anything. So time horizon, sometimes indefinite. You know, they don't sell at all. I mean, for Pokepumbler, of course, he sells, but every time he sells, it's like he's, you know, taking a piece of meat out of him. Very difficult. And their goal sometimes is to buy whatever they would like, nostalgic pieces, you know, to display, you know, on his shelf. So nice. And how do you know? They're always telling story, very emotional, show their personal collection, focus on art. Even the different box art, you know, the sleeves and things like that. So not so much focusing on the value. Usually, of course, in this video, Pokeplumber, it shows, you know, the collection. But usually, if you watch his video at all, he typically don't care too much about, you know, how much he pay. How can this mislead? This sometimes, especially if you watch his video, I stop watching his video because it doesn't really resonate with what I do. But I find it very interesting to hear his stories and things like that. But the dangerous thing is that sometimes he can make bending looks like it's critical for, you know, for him, because he don't mind spending a few $1,000s here, a few $1,000s there for 1 or 2 boxes. Sometimes it can, you know, inflate the emotional value with monetary value. If it doesn't align with you and you watch him, sometimes it can affect how you are thinking about certain things, and it may not really be very helpful. Next one, this I think is the most dangerous type of videos. Content first creators. To them, the views they get from a video is more important to them than the value they deliver in the video. For them, the time horizon is immediate. They don't care. All they care about is the view and the ad revenue. What they are trying to achieve here is just sensational titles, thumbnail, try to, you know, bait some clicks from their videos, and, you know, trending content. Sometimes they do collaboration with other people. That's the name of their game. So how can you tell? Loud thumbnails usually. Pack opening theater, typically not. I have not seen them open pack before, but definitely clickbaity, you know, thumbnails, and repeatable format usually, you know, some facial expression and some big words on top, very colorful. And how can they mislead? They create narratives that sometimes they don't really understand, and just to capture attention, but may not really be what is actually happening. Maybe they think it is true in their mind, but many of the time it's very narrow-minded. Sometimes because they're only doing it for the click, they don't really care about the consequence of what they're doing, and sometimes the things they're saying doesn't really concern them. They are not very much involved in the hobby. They don't really have much skin in the game, but they're just saying things. So if you're watching them and you take the cues from them, it could be a little bit dangerous. If you are just watching them for entertainment value, I think that's fine. Next one is dealer, storefront, reseller. So this one, actually, we don't have too many examples, but there are a few very good ones. The prime example is, of course, like Alpha Investment, Rudy, and Danny Phantom. I think it's Danny Phantom is more like a mix, and Pokémon is one of the more prominent one as well, and it fits right into this. So to them, the time horizon for them is basically inventory cycle. Every few months you will see them being very active talking about these things. What they are trying to do is move inventory. Rudy is probably more long-term investor, I guess, but he's also a little bit into this, so sometimes he try to move things. But what they're trying to do is they are trying to get more allocation, get sales, do some lottery sometimes. And how do you know? They usually talk about, you know, product availability, you know, how to pre-order. You know, they talk about the market price. How can their video be misleading? Because they are getting their prices directly from distributor. They are getting a very low wholesale price, and sometimes it can distort, you know, the market price, especially right now when the secondary market and the wholesale price there's such a big gap. And so when we're watching video like this from them, you would think that, oh, it's norm, everybody should sell at MSRP, nobody should sell above MSRP, but we get, you know, this is actually a distorted view because it doesn't really reflect the reality in the secondary market. Or if you go to any of the LGS outside, I doubt you can find many or at all that sells at MSRP. So be very careful, especially because they are like Danny and Pokémon. They don't even have a storefront, so they don't have any overhead costs they have to be worried about, so they can afford to sell at MSRP and still make a big profit. But to some of the people who actually have a store, a physical store, they have to worry about, you know, the rental, the people walking in the store, what is on their shelves, and they have to worry about people walking in and they're having something to buy. So what they worry about and what these people actually worry about, those people who actually have a store, can be very different. So when you're watching them, especially the online only store, please be very careful of what they say, and do not let what they say define what you see outside, because it is actually very different. Okay, and then the next group of people is community, hobby influencer. These are the big people with millions of... Do they have million? I think they have. They don't really care about selling things, because for them the ad revenue is everything. They make most of them from there. Of course, they are selling things as well. Some of them do rip and ship. Their goal, of course, is to build community, set norms, influence tastes. How do you know? They have quite frequently sometimes do collabs, you know, meetups at some of the shows. sympathy stories, sometimes like Pokevault, quite recently, charity streams are giving away packs and things like that. How can they mislead? And I think sometimes it's not intentional, but sometimes they actually set trends. Like for example, it's insane, look at this Pokeref video. If like 100,000 people actually watch it, these people will actually be influenced and think, oh, it really looks really nice, but actually maybe they don't really like it. But just because there are more people trying to echo the same thing, saying that, oh, this is actually a very nice card, same as this, the Gengar Pikachu from Chinese Pokemon. When more people hype this thing up and everybody think it's so unique, only in Chinese it's a unique art, and everybody start pumping this card up. Is it a bad thing? I'm not too sure. If you are just watching them for entertainment value, I think it's fine. Be very, very careful about following their footsteps, because what they are doing right here is totally different from most people like you and me. They are playing a totally different game. And is this the last one? I know this is probably the second last one. The 7th group is the trend jumpers, meme traders. So for them, just hours and week in terms of the time horizon. Usually these people are just looking for ad revenue as well. So what do? They exploit memes, trending things on the social media, and sometimes even YouTube. So they react to what other people say. So basically anything that create viral clicks, many clicks, they would do it. How can it be misleading? And sometimes they just create hypes that don't really reflect actual thing that's happening. Like for example, 15 Pokemon card under $15. Yeah, but what does that really mean? And do people actually like these cards? And Mewtwo GX, too cheap, $520. Really? I'm not too sure. Honestly, I do not know. I don't think anybody can know for sure whether this is too cheap or too expensive, but it could be true in his mind. This opossum, but by the way, this Kyra. So be very careful what you're watching, and sometimes, especially if you see that these people, they are pumping video out every single day, sometimes more than one video a day, they must be a reason, right? Why are they pumping videos so often? Do you think they have something very important to say? Honestly, do not know. Sometimes, and most of the time, they are just doing it for the clicks. If that's their actual intention, then definitely we have to question how much truth is there in their video, and have they actually thought through these things that they are saying, or they are just saying because this is the first thing that came to their mind. So I think we have to be quite careful watching this group of people as well. Alright, I think this is the last one. These are the hybrid creators. Mixed time horizon, because usually they do mixed things. Sometimes they are flipping, sometimes they are doing short-term stuff, sometimes they are doing long-term stuff. And they pivot between audience, they try to capture everybody. They do a little bit of everything. So I think Earned is a prime example. So he used to do silk collection. He sold all of, not all, but many of his silk collection. And he jumped into doing a lot of shows. So he was doing buying and selling, flipping, grading, all kinds of things. If you watch his video, you know what I mean. Recently, I have realized he have been jumping around a little bit, like he's having a second thought about things like that. But it's okay to change his mind. What is confusing is that because of this inconsistency, you don't really know what they're trying to do. But I think for Nostalgianomic, I think it's a little bit more straightforward. He's all about silk collection, but at the same time he's doing rip and ship. So that I think is the confusing part. I think Nostalgianomic is still quite, you can still tell the reason why he's doing it. He's very clear about that as well. He said that doing rip and ship because he need the income. He's not hiding it at all. But at the same time, he does believe in the value of long-term investing. Otherwise, he would have used all his silk collection in his rip and ship if he's really about quick profit and flipping. But he's not doing that. So to me, Nostalgianomic is probably not too bad in terms of that. He has very clear intention and he's not hiding it. So to me, it's not confusing. But for some people, it may be. But for Earn, some people may find it confusing because in his video, almost pretty much every other week, you will find him talking about something that's probably like a 90-degree turn from what he said a few weeks before or a few months before. Like I said, nothing wrong about that. People change our mind. I change my mind sometimes. I change my goal sometimes even. So, but he's putting his mind out there, so I give him respect for that. I think the most important thing I want to mention here, I have shared 8 different types of players in the market. The most important thing I want to share is that not every player is your coach, because if you've seen in the video, I put 3 different symbols out there. I have the hourglass that signals people who are waiting, long-term player, and the rocket symbol probably for the people who are just looking to pump and to flip everything, and the emotional people who are the collectors. And so which one are you? Which game are you playing? Watch who you are learning from. Be very, very careful. And before you even decide who you should watch, I think you should decide who you want to be. What is your game? Are you even in the game? If you're not in the game, I think it's fine. Just watch everything. Do it as an entertainment. If you are in the game, you have to decide which one are you. Are you the hourglass, are you the rocket, or are you the heart? After that, I hope it will at least give you a better idea from this video who are the people you should avoid watching and who are the people you should follow. Right, let me know what you think about this video. I hope it helps. Let me know what you think. Any comments, just put it in the comment section. And if you are familiar with the book, also let me know whether you enjoyed the book, whether it resonates with what you're thinking. I hope you enjoyed this one. See you in the next one.